Hello there. Welcome to Cracked Open with Coach Kristin. I am Coach Kristin, and I am here to teach you everything you need to know about boundaries. You're going to need them. We have the holidays over the next 2 weeks, and we've had them the last 2 weeks. So odds are good that you can use a little bit of support around boundaries, and I'm here to help you do that. So I made some notes because I didn't want to miss a thing. So let's start at the top. I made a YouTube, TikTok, and an Instagram video about this, and y'all lost your minds. You said, ouch, that hurt, or that stings. And yeah, it does. Because without boundaries, we are not practicing self-respect, self-love. In fact, we are abandoning our needs every time that we don't set and hold the most important piece, a boundary. So let's get clear on what boundaries are, what boundaries aren't, and then how to enact them. First of all, here's what I posted that got everybody riled up. Whatever you're willing to put up with is what you'll get. When I have clients, and for those of you who are new to me, I am an addiction counselor, and I also help people heal from trauma in all different modalities. When I work with parents of children, teenagers that are addicted, the first thing they'll say is, Kristin, I want you to work with my kid. They're totally out of control and they need your help. I'll always rewind back and I'll ask them, first of all, tell me what boundaries you have enacted with your child that has let them be real clear about where you stand about their drug or alcohol use. And I'd say about 80, go Zoom. It is what it is. About 80% of people say, well, I haven't. So without the boundary, how does the child know? So I'll tease the parents sometimes and I'll say, actually, the coaching and counseling that needs to take place needs to start with you, lovingly. And often I work with both. So that is where it's an example of a boundary not being set is easily a boundary that is trampled over because there isn't one. I'll give you another example. I have a friend who never, I shouldn't use words like that, rarely follows through with plans. And over the years, I've kind of just gone with it and said, that's the way they are. Finally, I enacted a boundary last year and I said, look, this version of me chooses to be in friendships with people who are reciprocal and with people who don't flake on me, because I don't flake on people. This version of Kristin does not flake on people. 4, 5, 10 years ago, sure, but not now. And therefore, a friendship doesn't appeal to me if I'm going to be flaked on all the time. It just doesn't feel good. And I am not available for it anymore. And we'll get into that phrase too, because that's a powerful way to nail down your boundary. Let's talk about a couple of other quotes about boundaries. Boundaries allow others to know who we are and what we value. Fair enough. Like in the example I just shared, the boundary is if we are friends and we make plans, it is my expectation that you follow through. I am no longer available for being flaked on. So that was me allowing my friend to know who I am and what I value. And I value friendship, reciprocity. I value people being where they say they will be. I newly value punctuality. We're all a work in progress. Okay, let's be clear about that. Okay, healthy boundaries are not walls. They are gates and fences that allow you to enjoy the beauty of your own garden. That's by Lydia Hall. I love that. They are gates and fences that allow you to enjoy the beauty of your own garden. So I live in Northern California. If I put a vegetable garden in my front yard with no gate, nothing, just out in the front yard, there are deer, there are squirrels, there are little moles, there are pigs, believe it or not, that will dig the garden up. If I want to plant a garden where I live, then I need to plant it in the backyard because it is fenced in. I will not be able to enjoy my garden if it is not fenced in. Same with your boundaries. You will not be able to enjoy a relationship, a friendship, a work counterpart relationship if you haven't made clear your boundaries. So, with all of that being said, we often feel like it's extremely painful, is the word I keep being told. It's painful, or it's, I hate boundaries. So I came up with something for you. I made them fun. I give this presentation to corporations, schools, different peer recovery groups, because it makes sense and it makes boundaries make sense. So I want to hear in the comments what you think about this process, because it has really helped me stick to my boundaries, which is congruent to sticking to respecting myself and loving myself. So here's the way it goes. They're called F.U.N boundaries. F-U-N. And F.U.N stands for boundary has to be firm. It has to be understandable. And here's the one. Woohoo! Let's celebrate, because I'm going to get so many comments saying you can't make them non-negotiable. But to begin with, yes, they have to be firm, understandable, and non-negotiable. I'm going to let you take that in for a second, because most people are like, that's not fun. No, it is fun. And here's why. Because making a clear boundary is using your words, naming your needs, making your needs align with your value. For example, if we go back to the flaky friend, it is a value to me to have reciprocity, give and take in a friendship. And by this person flaking out all the time, that's not reciprocity. That's me holding the weight of the friendship. I'm not available for that anymore. That's another term that I use all the time to define my boundaries. Simply, I'm no longer available for being flaked on. Or I'm no longer available for working 8 hours without a lunch break. This version of me is not available for that. In my 20s and 30s, I did it all day long. I didn't have any boundaries. I had wine and drugs. That's a horrible joke, but there is truth to that. So when we respect ourselves, we respect our boundaries. It's synonymous. You can't have self-respect without setting boundaries. A lot of people get kind of mixed up on how boundaries work. They feel like when they set a boundary, it is also their job to kind of like gear up the person that's receiving the boundary. And what I want you to know to be true is that's not the way this works. You, boundary setter, have one job, and that is to set your boundary in a firm, understandable, and non-negotiable way. Happy birthday, whoever's celebrating today. It is my aunt's birthday today. So Aunt Kathy, those balloons are for you. There has to be a way to fix that. But for now, we're going to roll with it. Because why? Why not? I'm not going to be mad at balloons. Not crossing any boundaries. A little bit of my private space, but not my boundaries. So I'm going to let it go. Let them. Back to boundaries. Your job is to hold the boundary. Set the boundary, hold the boundary. A lot of people think it's their job to like help soften the blow of the boundary to the person and make it this long drawn out thing. Oh no, it's not long drawn out. There's a couple ways. My favorite is just straight cut to the chase. Hey, I'm no longer available for a friendship that is not reciprocal. That's a boundary. There's nothing to argue with there. Or you can use a boundary sandwich. And here's how you do that. It's super easy to remember. Picture a sandwich, 2 pieces of bread, meat, turkey, vegetarian, whatever you like, in the middle. The first level of setting a boundary is the loving truth. Hey, friend, I super appreciate our friendship and I love you and I love your family. And I don't want to have resentment toward you. That's your loving truth. That's your bun. Here's the meat. Here's the meat. Where's the beef? I'm old enough to remember that commercial. I don't know if y'all are, but I remember it loud and clear. So think of that old lady saying, where's the beef? Here's the most important part of your boundary. The meat, the middle, the truth, the real truth. It really hurts my feelings when we make plans and you don't show up. Therefore, I am no longer available for making plans with you unless you can assure me that you will show up from now on. And then you follow that up with your bottom bun, which is another loving truth. I really hope you can understand where I'm coming from because I value our friendship and I value my sense of self, my time, and my safety. And that's how I feel about this situation. Notice there are no questions there to my friend. There is no inquiry. I handed them a boundary sandwich. I didn't take off the top bun and show them the meat and say, I know this is going to hurt your feelings. It really hurts mine when you don't show up. That ship has sailed. We're setting a boundary now. We have enough evidence. We're setting a boundary. I am no longer available for a friendship that is not reciprocal. I love you, and I hope that you can find a way to meet me in the middle from now on. It's cut and dry. Everybody's making boundary setting way too hard. It doesn't have to be a family discussion. It doesn't have to be texting your kid, hey, we're having a family meeting tonight. No, we're talking 5 minutes or less. And it is your distinct job to set the boundary and hold the boundary. And everything else is their work to do. It's their work to do to figure out how to handle your boundary or figure out if that works for them. That's not up to you. That's where we get it wrong. And we make boundary setting this big thing that we can't wrap our arms around because we take on the other person's work. Not anymore. Because now you know how to set a proper boundary and hold the boundary. A boundary is only as good as how you hold it. If you set a boundary and you let it press back, Not only have you not held your boundary, you've shown the person, I'm teaching you that you can disrespect my boundaries, and that's okay. Newsflash, no, it's not okay. You respect yourself. This version of you, December 2024, is watching this because you respect yourself. You respect your values. You respect what you believe in. You respect where you spend your time, money, resources, and you deserve to have them respect you. And respect cannot occur without boundaries. That's how we lovingly protect ourselves and protect the people around us. Because boundaries aren't just to protect you, they're also to protect the world that you show up in. Think of it that way. You're doing a loving gesture by setting that boundary with your son or daughter. You're doing a lovely gesture to yourself by setting that boundary at work. No, I will not work through my lunch break. I need to meditate and eat and have a mental break for 5 minutes at least. So I hope this has been helpful. If you would like more information on boundaries, or if you would like to do some one-to-one work to really nail down an important boundary setting conversation, I would be honored to do that work with you. Please see the show notes. Please like and subscribe. Notice there are no commercials or sponsors because this is me showing up in my purpose. This is what I do here. This is what I do on my podcast, in my Smart Recovery class. And then if you're interested in private coaching, we can have those conversations too. Comment below. Let me hear what you think about the boundaries. I know I said some things that possibly you haven't heard before, or I said them in a different way. Please let me know if I made it clearer or if you have more questions. I love to hear from you, and I'm so honored that you took the time to listen to this today. Thank you.